Hey everybody, it is Dak here from the Ed Boys, and welcome to my Making Money with Money guide. In this edition of the guide, we are going to be buying ores from Ordan. The idea of making money with money is very simple. Your goal is to find some stores around RuneScape that sell supplies that people might need, and if it sells them for any cheaper than you can sell on the grain exchange, then you can buy it from that store, sell it on the GE, and you make a little bit of profit. Today's installment is buying ores from Ordan. Ordan is located in the Blast Furnace. If you've never been in the Blast Furnace, you do have to start the Giant Dwarf quest to get in here, but honestly, there's also the minigame teleport once you unlock the area. Very simple to get here, basically no requirements. There's 4 ores that this guy sells that actually make a profit. Iron and coal are the main 2 that I'm paying attention to, but also we have tin and copper on the list. The other ores that he sells, it's just basically a rip-off. He's trying to scam you, so don't buy those ores. It's easy to check the price of the ore and notice only 44 coins per iron, but clearly if there's less ores in the store, this is how it works for every item in the game that you buy from a regular store, it goes up in price. So currently, hopefully I've put on the screen the numbers that I see for an average price if you're buying ores in bulk. Generally what I'm going off of, if I find a store that has 100 ores, I would buy 81 of them, so I do 3 trips there. I'm not trying to buy them out of stock, because that ends up costing a little more for those last 10 to 15 ores. Overall, it's fairly cheap to buy both of these ores. Even the tin and copper are very cheap too, so you don't really need that much money to start out with here. 100k really is a fine starting point. If you have any less money than that, you want to make sure you're not really buying any iron or coal, and even right at 100k, iron is probably the way to go. You tend to make the most profit off of coal and then a little bit less profit off of iron, but I usually just do a mix of both. I check that world to see if it has enough iron or coal, buy them out of both basically, and then move on to the next world. If you don't happen to run into a lot of competition, you can buy up to 5,000 ores an hour. Honestly, you could do it a little bit more than that if you were using stamina potions, but I don't even bother with the stamina or the energy potions. If you have full graceful, you won't run a run that often, and if you do it long enough that you're continuously running out of run, you're probably getting to the point that you've made enough money off of this, you could move on to different money makers. The amount of ores that you get per hour could also depend on how many other players you find buying ores here. If there's a lot of competition that day, you're not going to get nearly as many ores per hour, but realistically, I do find the 5,000 number per hour to be a pretty good average. If we take a look at the current GE prices and compare them to what the average buy prices were that I had earlier, you really have a decent profit here at 5,000 ores per hour. It's nothing to jump up and down about, and in fact, after a few hours of this, you should be good to go on other money makers. But it is a zero requirements method to get some money as long as you have, I was saying 100k to start with, but even like 50k you could show up here and start making some money with. This is no elite money maker by any means, but it is an option for broke people with 0 level requirements involved. That's really the majority of what I wanted to tell you guys about buying ores from Ordan. Honestly, it's not a moneymaker you should spend more than a couple hours on, but for someone who doesn't have very much money or doesn't have really great stats to work with, other than flipping, you really just have stores around the game to buy stuff from and sell it back to the people. But there are some stores out there that work. This is one of them, so if you got a little bit of money to spend and you're trying to make some cash, this is a possible way to do it. That's going to be wrapping up my Ordan guide, Making Money with Money number 2. If you guys enjoyed this guide or got any useful information out of it, then I'd appreciate you letting me know in the comment section below. Also letting me know if you have any other questions. Again, this is not really like a get-rich-quick scheme in terms of money makers. You shouldn't expect to do this money maker for the rest of your life and be absolutely rich, but this is a way to help get your account started.